Hey guys, Lancy here. Hope everyone's doing well. So this is going to be my very first spoiler-free movie review, and it's going to be about Annihilation, which is a really awesome sci-fi horror movie that was released in 2018. I think it was a straight to Netflix and movie theaters, and there was very little marketing done for this at all. So there's really good reasons why people have missed it, but it's one of those movies where if you like sci-fi and you like a bit of horror in your sci-fi, very highly recommended. There's no real grotesque, like it's not like amazingly gross like Event Horizon or like amazingly horrifying like Alien. There are some creepy elements to it. There are some really great monsters in this. The idea behind the movie itself is amazing to even think about. And it does a good job of explaining the world and kind of the reason why people are doing what they are. In the end, um, you kind of have this idea of like Inception, where you're not too sure exactly what's real and what's not, and what exactly happened at the end, but it's kind of left up to interpretation exactly how things went down when they get into this place. Now, you can see the trailer running in the background, so I guess I can give you a quick rundown of exactly what's happening. So these scientists, they find this weird artifact that lands in the middle of nowhere and it creates this weird oil slick bubble. And over the last couple of months or years, they just keep sending groups of people in, and they never hear from them again. In the end, a wife of one of the soldiers that went in, uh, the soldier returns, and has to figure out what's wrong with him. So she decides to sacrifice, or at least be willing to go in to find out exactly what happened to him and to see if there's any way to cure him because he comes out pretty sick. And no one else does, and he can't explain what happened, so that's pretty much the start of the story. So these, like, I think five girls, sorry, ladies, they're all certain kinds of scientists and everything, but they all have certain issues, and you learn about that as you go through the movie, and there are some pretty horrifying monsters that come out of it, and really amazing ideas. It's a lot about self-sacrifice, guilt, kind of doing something wrong and then trying to either make up for it or just willing to sacrifice yourself because you just need to know. That's a very key feature of like this movie, and I'll talk more about it in the spoiler as well. So the big picture for a movie like this is it kind of reminds you of um, God, I'm really bad at this, but there's another one. I think it's not Concept. It's the one with the aliens that can talk. I think it's Contact. Yeah, kind of like Contact, but Contact was a bit more friendly than this one. This oil slick doesn't really have like a vengeance or anything. It just does what it does, and it's really cool in some ways what it does. They're pretty accurate. Sorry, they're pretty accurate on the scientific terms, even if the science behind it is obviously very far-fetched. And yeah, I personally thought it was a great watch. I would, if I was going to rate this, because at some point I'm going to have to start giving rating systems, I would probably say if I was going to rate this movie out of 10, I'd give it a 8 or a 9. I watched the movie multiple times, especially for certain scenes. Certain scenes really stuck with me, and there are a few movies that do that, but this movie surprised me how well it did it. And whether or not it's for the creepy scenes, whether or not it's for the sci-fi, the actual like when they start talking about what's actually happening and some of the monsters, and you're like, well, I got to go back and check that out because that was creepy as hell. That stuff really does stick with you, and there aren't that many movies that stick with you like these movies. And I'm going to try to talk about more of them as I come along. I am a fan of horror, where I can get some good horror, but that's not always a given. And a movie like this, I didn't expect anything out of it, but it did surprise me. There was some lame parts of it, the parts that I didn't think that were necessary to dwell into too much, but I understand why they did it. and I understand the guilt that she got from the events. So it kind of goes back to this: we all, are in a situation where we're useless. We're not coming out of this alive, so we're just going to find out what's wrong. And a lot of the people are just willing to get through it. So yeah, I'll leave it at that, and I will continue my spoiler review another time. And yeah, let me know if you guys have seen this movie, what you guys think about it, and let's see if the rating system works. So thanks again, and have a good one. See you guys.